Oh my gosh, we're here. We made it to the season finale of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, and we're going to be talking about episode 8 today. What is it called? The Prophecy Comes True. So, of course, if you don't know what this is a discussion show for book fans, and we talk about each episode as they come out. So, of course, this is for episode 8. There will be, of course, book spoilers for the first 5 books of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, and of course, there will be spoilers for episode 8. But, yeah. Nonetheless, I do have one more disclaimer before we jump into thoughts and everything else. I really want to hear your thoughts. Like I said, this is a discussion show. Just try to make it at least somewhat positive. I don't want to hear I hated all of it. Just be like, hey, I liked this. Maybe I wasn't liking this, but I liked this, and I want to have that conversation with you. So please comment your thoughts below, especially if you read the books. But literally anyone, just talk about it and keep the conversation going. I don't think I can say that I expected that we would start off with like a little flashback of Percy and Luke, but it makes a lot of sense because if you think about it, Luke hasn't been around for too long, right? Like we saw him in the first what, like 3 episodes, and then other than that, it's just the Iris message. So I like how we're getting more Percy and Luke interactions, and I think the purpose of this is to kind of rope the rest of the audience who doesn't know who's gonna betray Percy and kind of tell them who's going to betray Percy, right? Because after those scenes, I'm sure everyone else is kind of caught on of like what's happening here. It's not Clarice, right? But of course, like the main kicker, the first thing that really happens is, of course, the fight with Ares. Now, I thought this was done really good. I was scared of Ares in the moment. He looked so angry. So, shout out to him for doing a wonderful job. My only issue is that it was criminally short. Like I actually like skimmed through the timing to kind of figure out how long the actual fight was. It was genuinely about a minute and a half. Which I get. Like Percy, the only way that Percy could win is kind of defeating Ares through his wits, right? It's not supposed to be like this like brutal freaking fight that goes on for 8 hours. Like I understand that, but it felt very short compared to everything else. I think this was just a flaw of pushing it to the last episode. But otherwise it was really good. I liked how the rules were established. My issue, right? Percy wins, right? Of course. My issue is that I was very confused on where we are in this moment. Hear me out, right? Because in my brain, because I read the books, I associate Santa Monica Beach with the Ares fight. I associate Santa Monica Beach with the Ares fight. So as soon as Percy and Ares are done fighting, how is Percy just walking to his childhood cabin here? I'm like, what is the cabin doing in Santa Monica Beach? And then I realize, oh, okay, we never made it to Santa Monica Beach. We're just in New York. Was anyone else confused by this? I don't think it matters very much, but I was just like, what is this cabin doing here? Whose cabin is this? He steps in and I'm like, oh, we're in New York. Then we make it to Olympus. Now, I will say Olympus looked cool. It was just okay. I actually liked the visuals of exterior Waterland a lot more. The diner that they had hamburgers with Aries with, like Olympus was just okay. Looked okay, which makes me very excited to see Annabeth actually get to redecorate it, and like rebuild it, hopefully in a later season. But otherwise, it was okay, and I don't know what to call it, like I guess we'll call it the council room, right? Like the room where it's like just Zeus on his throne and he's just like staring at Percy. You know what I'm talking about. Um I noticed that this looked very similar to Hades's uh like lair, I guess. And I don't know if that was intentional to kind of make a statement that like, hey, Hades and the rest of the gods are not very similar, or are not very different. They're all kind of shitty people when it comes down to it. Or maybe it was unintentional, but otherwise, I think Olympus and the underworld layer that Hades was at was, I don't know, looks really similar to me. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think the portrayal of Zeus was pretty spot on and book accurate because Zeus is supposed to be pretty scary and also standoffish, right? You're never supposed to feel comfortable around Zeus. You're never supposed to feel like you can actually have a normal conversation with Zeus. He doesn't even like talk to his children ever, 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 right? So I think the actor did a wonderful job, and of course, rest in peace to him. But yeah, I think he portrayed the book Zeus pretty decently. And yeah, I mean, I can't be like, oh my god, he was the best Zeus ever, but like he did what he had to do, and that was like be kind of creepy and standoffish, you know? But then Poseidon comes out, and I was not expecting Poseidon, and I was pleasantly surprised by the interaction between Percy and Poseidon. If you think about it, like this is the first time that Percy's meeting his dad at 12 years old under these insane circumstances that he knows that he can't hug him and have a normal, father son relationship. But I think that meeting really like spoke to him, especially them bonding over how much they love mom or Sally. After that, of course, Percy gets a pearl, smashes it. He heads to Camp Half Blood, of course. Now, I will say my favorite part of this episode was when Luke and Percy were out in the woods of camp at night with all the fireworks going on. The tension in that scene was so good. Like the whole like betrayal reveal, I guess. I thought it was done really, really, really well. And I think they kind of made Luke's motives pretty clear, which is great because like this part, like Luke becoming bad, like sets up everything else to happen in the rest of the books or hopefully seasons. So that makes me very, very, very excited for where we're going. I think we're on the right pace here. And Annabeth coming out of nowhere, invisible. I started to tear up because that is another can of worms I don't think I can emotionally handle right now. The whole like family, Luke, you no, we're not doing it. I think the other scenes that happened at camp were really cute, of course, with Dionysus and Chiron talking to Percy and, Dionysus still being Dionysus. And I like this little time jump that we had to kind of show them that, like, hey, like, I'm gonna call the three of them the pact now because they called themselves or they made a pact, and I've been saying the gang and the group and all these different names. I'm just gonna call them the pact by now on. And I liked how the pact all kind of talks about like their plans for the next year and how they're gonna come back here no matter what. Makes me very excited, right? Grover got his license. Annabeth is going home for the first time in like 7 years. I don't think they like emphasize that enough, but makes me very excited for her. Um and of course, Percy goes home to see his mom hopefully. And I don't know if anyone else caught it. I'm sure some of you did, but he got his first painted bead and he was wearing it on his necklace, and I thought that was a really awesome touch that they added. I wish they showed it or at least like maybe Annabeth like putting it on him. I wish we saw a little bit of that, but nonetheless, it's there. So, I'm glad it's, canon. After that, I did not really expect this little back and forth that happens between like Sally and Kronos. You know what I'm talking about? Like he reunites with Sally, but then it's a dream, and then Kronos is there, but then he actually wakes up and then Sally's there. I don't mind it at all. It was just a little like strange, I guess. And I like how we got to see more Percy and Sally because like everything that happened in this season was because Percy wanted his mom back, right? Like, yeah, the lightning bolt was pretty important, but like his motive was his mom. So I'm glad we got to, kind of conclude that tension of like just not having her around. So that was really nice. And then it started to end, and I was like, what happened to Gabe? And exactly when I thought about that, I skipped ahead a little bit and I noticed that, like, oh, there's an after credit scene of course, Gabe getting stoned. Well, getting turned to stone. And yeah, I like that. Hopefully, Sally does what she needs to do to become a best selling artist. But yeah, this was very exciting. Can't wait to see more. What I really want from the next season is more of the pact working together to like fight off monsters. We have not seen that. We were supposed to get that in Waterland. It did not really happen. We saw that like for 3 seconds with the Echidna. Is that how you say it? I just want to see more of the three of them fighting really, really badly. And of course, Percy actually fighting good and like Percy using his powers and wits and everything. You know, we did get to see that a little bit in Capture the Flag and the fight with Ares, but like I said, the fight with Ares was legit a minute and a half, so I want to see more. But if we can fix those two things for the next season, I'm very, very excited. And of course, I want to see Tyson. But I think that's it. Hopefully, I'll be back after season 2 premieres and we can talk about it. Or maybe before, we can talk about maybe information or leaks or anything. But yeah, that's it for now. And stay safe out there, Half Bloods. Bye.